views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but you're encouraged to like and share them on Facebook. It's time for the Sue Ellen Sanders Show with Sue Ellen Sanders.
Welcome to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show, and it's funny listening to that disclaimer that you just made. I had to speak last week before a group of Girl Scouts that Kathy Post had invited me to speak to her Girl Scout troop, group of middle schoolers. And I was explaining to them about the disclaimer that goes before any type of opinion type of show.
Right.
And, somebody asked, well, would you say anything bad? Could you say anything bad? I'm like, well, if I did, the radio station didn't want to take responsibility for it. So, but it's still not okay. I still wouldn't do it, of course. But it's interesting listening to that with the perspective of having those middle schoolers ask that question. Well, does that excuse you from saying anything bad? I think that people who are on the media, whether they're in an opinion-based radio talk show or editorial, or whether they're a newspaper, they do have a responsibility to the community to give the truth, whatever their truth is, and help to spread the word and make the community a better community at whatever level you're at. And that's what I try to do with this radio show, and that's why I've invited Tom Jones, who is the executive director of the Education Foundation of St. Lucie County, and Robbie Giacconi, who is the president of the board of directors for the Education Foundation. And they're here. They're going to talk a little bit about the Education Foundation and what it does and some of the events that are coming up and some of the things that you might need to know about the services that the foundation offers. So, Tom, let's kick it off with you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And as far as the foundation, it is, 15 years old? I don't know.
28 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, 28 years.
I should know that because you've been doing an Education Foundation ball for...
Well, the ball itself is 19 years.
Yes.
And the foundation was created in 1990. So we're in our 28th year right now.
So it was created, of course, to be the fundraising arm of the St. Lucie School District and to offer ways that both teachers and students and businesses can be connected to help each other.
That's correct. We're really trying to further K through 12 public education. And we do that by, as you said, we're the fundraising arm. We raise money from what I call the private sector, mostly businesses. And then we have programs that we've worked on for many years. The largest program are teacher grants. And what we do is that we open up applications for teachers and the school district to look for extra funding for creative programs. And that's our biggest program. Each year we get about 100 applications, and we award about 50.
And some of those grants are partially funded by the state. They're matching grants.
That's correct, yes. For the last 5 years, all of the education foundations throughout the state qualify for a matching grant program. And our portion each year is generally between $55,000 and $60,000. So what that means is that if we raise $60,000, the state of Florida would match that, and then we would be able to award $120,000 for teacher grants.
So we'll get back and go into we'll get back to this and go into a little bit more detail about what type of grants the teachers can get for the school year. But I also wanted to mention the other part of the equation, which of course is the students' scholarships.
Right. We are actually one of the largest private organizations that provide scholarships to public students. Now, our charter, and you probably know this, is very specific. We're known as a DSO, a direct support organization of the public school district, the public school system. So we have one customer, and that's the St. Lucie County School District. And so what we do is that we raise money and then we just basically provide it in terms of grants and scholarships. We awarded last year, I would say about 75 scholarships, and it's growing, and I'm very proud of that. The board has done a terrific job, and it's a lot of fun.
And if I could just
Yes,
add to the
please.
scholarships, because they are open to anybody who wants to give the Education Foundation money to have a scholarship in their name or a loved one's name or maybe a teacher's name or somebody in the family. So we do scholarships starting at $1,000, and we have a mechanism for picking the students and awarding the scholarships. But I think it's important to know that anybody in the community can give a scholarship to a student here in St. Lucie County.
As a matter of fact, just most recently, the Sailfish Beer Mile took some of their proceeds and established 2 different scholarships. And, you think about establishing scholarships, and there's a lot of steps that are involved in that, in following a particular format, in attracting the people to apply for the scholarships. As Robbie said, also in being able to judge those students that are applying and have a fair committee to select the students. And the Education Foundation will do all of that for you, and you can just endow a scholarship. So if you wanted to make a commitment, I know several families who have done this, and they just created a foundation like the Abernathy Family Foundation. So every year they could give and endow a scholarship. But there's also a lot of businesses. There's also organizations like the Sailfish Beer Mile. There's people who are who do it in memory of a
That's
student.
correct. As a matter of fact, the largest scholarship right now is the Aaron Project, which is in memory of Aaron Beauchamp, who died tragically in a bus accident. And so his parents have been very active in raising money. And Robbie knows this, and the board knows this. We're very proud of this. Every dollar that comes to us, like through a donor for a scholarship, goes towards that scholarship. We don't charge a fee. There's a lot of foundations or nonprofits have a fee, but if it's mission driven, like student scholarships or teacher grants, if that money comes in, all of it goes right for that cause, because we're a mission driven organization.
And so the scholarship for the Aaron Beauchamp scholarship that's listed, and as well as any other scholarship, and you can make the decision if you are selecting the scholarship, whether you want it to be merit based or whether you want it to be need based, or both.
I'll give an example of the St. Lucie
Great.
County Fair. I'm on the board of the St. Lucie County Fair, and we for years have done 3 $1,000 scholarships to the Ed Foundation. And the kids that can apply for that and win it have to have, in one way or another, either shown an animal at the fair or participated in 4-H or art and photography. So those are the kind of things that you can designate when you form the scholarship, what criteria you want for that person.
And
to get.
there's all sorts of different sorting criteria. There's for students who from the Port St. Lucie Soccer Club, maybe who played soccer, or students who, as you said, at one point showed an animal at the fair or belonged to a 4-H group, and then you have the scholarship committee meet and go through all the scholarships and pick the best candidate. A lot of times these kids that get the scholarships, even they may be attending IRSC or they may be going away to school, but sometimes that extra $1,000 makes the difference between whether they can easily make that decision to, if they're staying local, to not have to work full time and to instead go to school, or if they're going away, maybe their dorm deposit or something of that nature.
That's
Or
true.
books,
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
Unbelievable how much books cost.
We also have a number of students that win multiple scholarships. So you could possibly walk away with over $2,000.
Well, one of my favorite scholarship stories, and I have served on the scholarship committee before too. It was one of the committees that I really enjoyed being a part of, and there was a student who was a homeless student. Do you remember that student?
I don't remember
Yeah.
the student, but
And he applied, and I remember the way that and this was a few years ago, more than a few probably, but there were different groups of adults and business leaders and members of the Education Foundation that were divided up, so everybody had a certain amount of scholarships to take home and look over and then come back together and compare notes. And and every group that this young man's information appeared in, everybody was starry-eyed about him because he was living on his own. He was making his way on his own. He was going from house to house. He would stay at friends' parents' houses, and he was still excelling in school. And if there's anyone in the world you want to give a leg up to and as many scholarships as you can, it's someone like that. And I remember going home, and my kids at the time were in high school, and I think my son came home with a B on his report card a few weeks later, and I was like, there's this kid, and he got straight A's, and he didn't even have a home to come home to, and loving parents or grandparents or anybody. And I felt bad for my kids that year because I heard about it all year long. But some really, really well-deserving students who get that extra help through the scholarship program. And then the other thing that the Education Foundation does is one of the biggest programs is recognizing teachers. And boy, as someone who taught for 8 years, I can tell you what, teachers do not get 1/8 of the recognition that they deserve. But God bless the Education Foundation, because not only do they recognize teachers, but they do it with a ceremony that's worthy of like an Academy Awards ceremony.
Yeah, it's actually called Night of the Stars. It's patterned after the Academy Awards. It's a lovely event. It's been held for the past many years at Lincoln Park Academy. We actually sell out the auditorium, so that holds close to 1,000 people. So every year we get about 1,000 people coming, and the Education Foundation is privileged to sponsor the event. And by that I mean we actually provide the funding for all of the awards. We provide the funding for the dinner. Okay, it's a dinner, or it's a what would you
Heavy
call it?
hors
It's a
d'oeuvres,
reception.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
a heavy
yeah.
hors d'oeuvres, and it's a lovely event, and it culminates in the recognition of the Teacher of the Year, the School-Related Employee of the Year, the Distinguished Minority Educator of the Year, and the First Year Teacher of the Year. So those are the four main awards. And for the past, Robbie, it might be 2 years, okay, one of our sponsors stepped up, and they're going to do it again this year, so I can announce it. It's Mid-Florida Credit Union. They will actually award personally to the Teacher of the Year a $5,000 check.
Wow.
And they
That's
will also
awesome.
award a $2,500 check to with SREY, School-Related Employee of the Year. And this is significant.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun.
It
And
is.
it's one of our core missions to recognize excellence in the school district.
It's funny because as kids in the school system, you're used to being recognized, especially at the elementary school level. When you have the different awards and you go up to the stage of the different awards. But until the Education Foundation really stepped up with the Night of the Stars, there was not, even if there was a Teacher of the Year named, it was just kind of in name only. But you all, as an organization, has brought this to the level where the teachers walk away feeling good. Everyone who is, each of the schools names all of the different categories that you mentioned. They name somebody, so they have a top teacher in all those different categories, in a school-related employee, and then there's finalists, And then, in this Academy Awards type presentation, all of the candidates are announced, brought on stage, and then the winner is announced. It's incredible.
Part of this whole program for Night of the Stars that happens before the actual Night of the Stars is when we, as the foundation, go into the schools to award the 3 finalists, to recognize the 3 finalists. That nobody knows who's coming. In fact, the people that pick the finalists don't even tell the Education Foundation till like the morning till the morning of, and we all ride the same bus or car, and so we all know where we're going, but we don't know who the teacher is. But then we burst into the classroom with flowers and give them to the teacher who's made it to the finals. So that's part of the program, and they're so shocked. And the kids get to see that.
I was going to say, I know I have seen the pictures and the videos of the teachers, and the kids are as excited as the teachers are. And so even, especially at the middle school and high school level, especially it's good to recognize the teachers in front of the students, because the students are kind of at that age where they're not respecting a lot of adults at the level that they might. And to see your teacher recognized for their excellence really is very meaningful, and it, makes you sit up and take notice that you're being taught by the best.
Yeah, a role model. They are the role models for the kids. So.
They are. And, I just get chills and a lump in my throat when I think about it, because a friend of mine, Della Croce, at Allapattah, when she was at Allapattah, now she's at Treasure Coast, but she won School-Related Employee of the Year.
Right, she is the current SREY.
Yeah. But she was a finalist, and so she got, when she was at Allapattah Flats, and then she moved to Treasure Coast, and then she won, like you said, the whole shebang.
Exactly.
And oh my gosh, she's just it's her lifetime achievement. She is so excited about it, because parents and students and everybody always come in and they say, "Oh, Miss Della, you're so wonderful. You're so great." Or they'll come in and say, "Oh, Miss Della, I need this. Miss Della, I need that. Miss Della, can you do this?" And to know that she has been recognized on a district level is just really wonderful
And
for
actually, her category, SREY and Teacher of the Year, are state categories. They're recognized by the state of Florida. So there's competition beyond the school district. And so it's a lot of fun. It just keeps going and going.
That's awesome. Now, we're talking about a lot of things that cost a lot of money to do. And some of it, like Robbie and Tom have detailed some of the sponsors who step up and donate things that go with it, or donate scholarships, or donate money for a grant. But there's a whole lot of other things that fall into that other category. And so the Education Foundation, it's so important to do a big several big types of events per year to raise money for the Education Foundation. And then I know you have other things that bring in money, including the education license plate, right?
Right. In fact, that's being revamped right now statewide. So that's going to be another push this year. So we sell the license plate, and then we also sell coupon books through the school district, or through the schools, as well as through our website and through the Chamber of Commerce and other venues. And that's a fundraiser for us. So, in fact, that's going on right now. You can purchase a coupon book for $25, save thousands of dollars from local merchants.
I love those books.
Oh yeah, I have one right here, and I can show it to you. It's a great book. It's got literally thousands of dollars in saving. It has an app to it too, and the app is terrific because once you have it on your iPhone, you could turn it on, and it tells you if you're near a business that is participating.
How cool is that?
So if you wanted to find a restaurant, you look at the app. It tells you, oh, this is a restaurant where your coupon is good, and you actually scan it with your iPhone, and you don't really need the book.
So the new and improved
right.
St. Lucie Jewel of the Treasure Coast, and I'm going to hand a copy to Cliff so he could maybe hold it up. Oh, he's going to take a picture of it and put it up there later. He's
And-
got this down to a science.
A couple of years ago, we used to have a featured sponsor for the book. It was one of the local food stores, grocery stores. And a couple of years ago, they dropped out of sponsoring the book. So we looked around, and the St. Lucie County Fair stepped up, and they are the featured sponsor. So in that book are 4 tickets for adult admission to the fair, $5 off of each adult admission. So if you use them, you get your $20,
That's $20
20 of your
right there.
$25
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And I happen to volunteer at the front gate of the fair, and I save
So
all
you've
of.
twisted a few.
Well, I
arms,
ask
yeah.
people where, do you have a child in school? I
Yeah.
want to know, where they get them.
Yes.
But the first year that the fair did it, I actually had all those little coupons because we had to account for them, when we
Yes.
balanced out at the end of the night. And I brought them into a board meeting, a whole big box of them, and dumped them on the desk. And I think there were 2,000 coupons that year that were used by people
Wow.
who came to the
Yeah.
fair. So, it benefits a fair, it benefits a foundation, definitely benefits the people who use the coupons.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's a win-win-win for everybody, and then those are things that you can do. Well, of course, the coupon book. When is it on sale till? Do you have a
Well,
deadline for it?
No, actually, till we run out.
Okay.
And they're being sold right now at most of the elementary schools, but certainly on our website. So if you just visited efslc.org, you can see the coupon book, click it, and use your card to purchase it, and we would ship it to you free.
Or if you've got a kid in the schools, you can get it through the schools.
Right, and if you buy it through the school, it benefits the actual classroom as well.
That's awesome.
And most of the coupons, unlike the fair, which is an event coupon, most of the coupons are good through December of 2019. So even though you may not be able to get it right now, or if you do get it, you still have a whole year to use those coupons.
Well, and if you have a whole year to use the coupons, then what a great idea for a stocking stuffer or a
absolutely,
holiday
yeah.
present is to pick up these books. And actually, one year I did do that for my kids. It's funny because you talk about having the deadline be, a year and some months ahead. So you got plenty of time, but I always feel like the pressure's on those last couple months before the coupons expire. We won't go anywhere or do anything that doesn't involve one of those coupons.
You just learn to keep it in your car so that just in case you have to stop somewhere to eat
You
or
got
whatever,
it.
you have the coupon.
You got it.
The other thing we have going on right now, if I may talk about for a minute, because school is just in, are the Adopt-A-Class, the Adopt-A-Class program that we have. So anybody can adopt a teacher and make a donation through the Education Foundation to them. That money goes directly to them at their school so that they can purchase the supplies that they always need for their classrooms. They never have enough supplies.
Yeah.
And so this is one way of helping a classroom get a teacher get supplies for their classroom. Done through the Education Foundation. There is a service fee for doing that.
There's a $2.50 fee when you use your card. That helps offset the actual processing. But if you were to donate $25, that $25 goes right to the teacher. And we don't have our own fee on that.
And on behalf of teachers, especially, a lot of times the United Way or some other agencies will step up at the beginning of the year, and the kids have the school supplies at the beginning of the year. But go into a classroom a couple months after the beginning of the year, and those supplies are starting to dwindle. And boy, come January, there's never anything that enough of anything, and the kids, do they eat the pencils or what? It kind of, they disappear, and of course no student wants to ask, say, I my family can't afford pencils and papers or notebooks, or my dad yelled at me when I asked for money for that. And so it's nice for the teacher to be able to have that money to supply those things for the students. This is the first year in 8 years that I'm not teaching. And my husband said the money that we're saving from me buying the kids stuff is amazing when you think about it. He just, every time I went to the dollar store, you might as well have just called it the $100 store, because it's the teacher's best friend. It's awesome that you have the ability to adopt a class, and if you don't know a particular teacher or a particular school, can you just call and say, I want something in the Fort Pierce area or in the Southwest Port St. Lucie area, and you'll pick a class for them?
Well, actually,
The teachers are listed on
Right,
the
yeah,
website,
yeah.
Oh,
so
so
they
you
could
could
go
you
in and randomly
pick a
a
teacher.
grade, pick a
Yeah,
teacher that they
yeah.
wanted to. I think that the fun of doing that, and what I did for most years, now that I have a grandson in St. Lucie County schools, is for him to be part of me giving that money, so he knows that money went to his class to buy stuff for his classmates who may have needed some of the supplies, so he recognizes that.
One thing a teacher friend of mine did, and she was talking about, is this. If you have a grandson in schools, you're probably familiar with the Scholastic book fairs, and then the information that's sent home at the elementary school level. There's like a sheet of paper. Actually, it's like 4 pages that's sent home with some of the students, and the kids can order. And there's always at least $1 or $2 books. And a friend of mine put her own little fundraiser together, actually, on Facebook, and said, for this amount of money, I've got 25 kids in my class, and if I have $25 a month, then I can make sure that every kid in class gets at least the $1 book. And so when those Scholastic book orders come in, they'll all get that a book to take home.
Sure.
And it's so meaningful to kids to teach them how to treasure books. Now, we've been talking about the St. Lucie County Education Foundation programs, but there's actually an event that is coming up that is a culmination of a successful year, or the beginning of the new school year, and it is the Education Foundation Gala Ball that is coming up on November 3rd. And you're still looking for sponsors, for auction donations, and of course for people to come to the event.
That's right. Thank you. The annual gala is our single largest fundraiser. Most of the money that we raise at the dinner goes towards next year's teacher grants. So what we like to do is build up a balance in that restricted fund, and then get the state match. So what we're doing today is raising money for next year's teacher grant program. And this year it's held at the Harbor Ridge Clubhouse, which is a very elegant venue in St. Lucie County off of Becker Road. And the theme is Hooray for Hollywood. So we're all going to dress in the golden era of Hollywood, and in tuxes and gowns. And we're going to auction off a Lexus, a 2-year lease on a Lexus, as well as having a very elegant dinner with filet mignon and plank salmon, and as well as a silent auction. So it'll be a fun event.
And the tickets are on sale now, and you can go to the Education Foundation of St. Lucie County website to purchase them.
That's correct. You can buy them right now. Just log on to our website. They're $135 a person, or $250 a couple. There are sponsorships available right now still. Jackwood and Sons is our title sponsor. Kaiser University is our reception sponsor, and then Treasure Coast Lexus is our auction sponsor. And then we have a number of gold, silver, bronze sponsors and program sponsors, but those categories are infinite. So if anyone wants to be a sponsor, we would welcome them. And the sponsorships come with, in many cases, seats
Yes.
at the dinner. So that's Saturday, November the 3rd, starting at 6 o'clock. We expect to have, Robbie, over 150 people for sure.
Yes, but it's not limited. We could have 300. So anybody who wants to come, we
Yes.
got plenty of room to do that.
So you can also RSVP and buy tickets through the website, or do the Education Foundation board members also have physical tickets they're selling? Or
No, there
how
aren't
did
physical
you-
tickets.
No.
What you do is you purchase, and then we add your name to a list.
You're on the list.
You're on the list,
Yes.
right? So just walk in, your name's on the list.
So very Hollywood then.
And you're right, we still are looking for auction items for the silent auction. So there'll be a live auction that'll feature maybe 10 or so items, and then we'll have a silent auction. And of course, that's another place along with sponsorships where we raise money that night. So certainly if you have a business out there and you'd like to donate an item to our auction, we'd love to have it. Just get in touch with the Education Foundation.
So services, even you can do. I know one of the things on the silent auction was a gift certificate for income tax preparation services,
sure,
which
yeah,
is
services
that's
as well as
awesome.
goods, yeah.
And then Sheriff Mascara, as usual, is donating his sheriff for the day. So just there are a lot of different things, a lot of gift baskets. I know in the past that the schools have also gotten involved.
Schools
Robbie,
still
you
do
want to
it.
tell
Yes.
us a little bit about that?
So the schools have kind of adopted doing these baskets for us. We never know quite what we're going to get. There's something individual to each school that they put together, and we auction off. I think we're expecting about 30 this year, maybe, or
Probably 30, yeah.
30
That's a-
baskets
that's a
put
nice
together
number.
by the schools, and sometimes they're gift cards and sometimes they're gift certificates along with other things. So we're always surprised when we get them, but it's nice to have the schools recognize what we're doing for them too. It's kind of, I see it as their way of paying back to us.
In the past, there's also been some of the students' art
Yes.
that
Right,
was
in the
auctioned
past,
off,
yeah,
because I own
yeah,
some
right.
of that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's been
Yeah.
very popular. We reached out to the school district, so we'll see. We'll see if we have some student art.
Yeah.
The student art sells really well.
Yeah, it does, and you'd be amazed at how talented our area students are. Also, I remember from the years of being an FK Suite parent that there was kind of an informal competition among all of the schools as to which baskets were raising the most money.
Well, the schools are very proud of their baskets, and they're
Yes.
beautiful. Every
Yeah.
year, as Robbie said, we're amazed, absolutely amazed.
Yeah.
And it's a huge fundraiser because some of the bidders pay quite a bit of money for the basket, so
Yes.
it's fun.
And you're right, the competition between schools can be where some of that money really comes from. If one school basket is high on the priority list because it has so many good things in it, that can really make or if we have people attending from that school too,
Yes,
that
and
can
a lot
bid
of
them up.
times you'll have parents or administrators from
attending.
the schools that are attending, and they're proudly taking pictures of the bid sheet to show off. But it's really elegant evening, and it is called this year an elegant evening for education.
And there may be a surprise or two. I can't say much more.
Something Hollywood based.
Something Hollywood entertainment based kind of thing.
Well, that'll be exciting, and
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Maybe some Hollywood stars might stop
know.
by to visit.
You never know.
And entertainment too. You mentioned that there would be some entertainment. I know when you do the Night of the Stars recognition for the teachers, you have a lot of student performances.
Right, we're actually going to have an ensemble band by a school. Dr. Kevin Perry has been very gracious, and he's already organized that. So that'll be.
Did he get the Lincoln Park Academy Jazz group?
I actually haven't heard, but I think you're
Okay.
pretty close.
Okay, all right. Because there's 3 of those boys I taught English to.
Okay, well,
I didn't teach them how to sing or how to play their instrument,
and
but they're
also,
very talented.
Also, this year we have a group of volunteers from St. Lucie West Centennial High School that'll be helping us out.
We do, yeah.
So it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have some students there.
It's always awesome to see our students all dressed up, and whether they're performing or whether they're helping to usher or helping people to find pens for the silent auction. Oh, I was going to tell you, I was at a silent auction the other day up at the Indian River County Rotary, and they did this on the silent auction table, and I thought it was brilliant. They set out reading glasses at each table. They set out reading glasses. Isn't that a great idea?
Yes.
Because there's always somebody who's like squinting and go, I can't quite see what that says. Yeah, everybody's raising their hand. Robbie's got hers in her hand. But I don't know if they borrowed them or if they just got a couple of packs from Sam's or whatever. But it was the most brilliant thing. There was just like for every maybe 10 things, there was a pair of reading glasses set out there.
Another way that the students are participating in this year's event is dessert. Because we have one of the culinary arts programs from, I forget which school is doing it, but they're providing dessert for the...
Yeah, that's at Fort Pierce Central.
Fort Pierce Central. I was going to say they're pretty famous for their
So that's another
program.
way that they are, able to participate and help. So.
Well, it's awesome to see, like I said, the students in action and have them be a part of a fundraising event like the Education Foundation Ball, which is, of course, coming up November 3rd. That is the fundraiser that's coming up right around the corner, but you can help raise funds for the Education Foundation year-round right now by buying a coupon book that's available on the website, and the website is
www.efslc.org.
okay, or you can check out their Facebook page at Education Foundation of St. Lucie County and get connected that way. You can get all the information about the event that is coming up, the Education Foundation annual Hooray for Hollywood Gala, the coupon book, the license tag, the scholarships, and Adopt a Class, thank you. Robbie Giacconi and Tom Jones have been my guests. You've been listening to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. I'm here every week with more information for you. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
The Sue Ellen Sanders Show, followed by high school football. Right here, stay tuned. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, celebrating 25 years and counting. By the way, tune in for the Sue Ellen Sanders Show every Friday night at 6:05 p.m., taking it right up to high school sports live right here on WPSL.